you just, things don't register like they normally do, you know? You doing all right, sir?
Doing well, you?
So far, so good.
Family doing well?
Yeah. Same old, same old. Dad and mom being a pain and
Oh,
sister
yeah.
living, but
That's rough.
it's awful.
Go from being the child to the parent.
Well, you know, the sad part about it is I got 4 brothers and I can't get any help. My wife and I are the only ones that are doing anything to help.
So your parents had 5 boys?
Yeah, I'm the second. And for some reason, I've been the one that's had to do it ever since I've known. I didn't have much for childhood. But, and then Beth's mom had a brainstem stroke. She's like a 7, 8-year-old. She's not gonna get any better. So we got it from both sides. Her dad's got dementia.
My grandma used to say, a son's a son until he takes his wife, and a daughter's a daughter, and will be for life. Because they end up stepping up and taking care of it.
And I agree. I agree. 'Cause her brother.
Well, if you're gonna go to a game, they pick you when it goes.
And they won,
That's right.
you know.
Well, we're up 10.
It's always-
So they're gonna tell him he needs
I
to
won't
come
make
to
any
Iowa.
comments
noticed
about
he was-
about yesterday's game either,
All right,
even though my
okay.
husband is crying.
You doing
It's,
okay?
um,
Okay.
against their team and the bad calls
Dad
at the
doing
end.
okay? Yeah, Greg this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Green Bay,
Packers
Was it
won.
sudden
I know.
then?
Crazy year.
Yes and no.
It's been a crazy year.
It's been a crazy year.
And he just had a heart valve replacement.
Yeah, look, the Lions won yesterday. Lions never win.
I know. Hey, they almost beat my Dolphins. It was a little scary there. towards the end. I was like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Actually, they've got a pretty decent team
That's too
coming
bad.
up.
It's the
I didn't
NFL.
tell
It's still a
anybody.
bunch of
No,
professionals
yeah.
that are
I didn't see it in the
great
paper.
athletes. I mean, on any given Sunday,
Yep.
somebody's
And
kept
there
it
you
to the
go.
family.
I mean, how the
More
heck did we beat
people do
Kansas
that
City
nowadays.
with a quarterback that can't get out of his own shadow?
Anyone can win. anyone can
Any
lose.
given Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't know if the Bears or the Packers are gonna make it yesterday.
And they
They-
tried their best not to.
That was a bad call at the end, but because really the Cowboys blew it.
Yeah, Cowboy, it shouldn't even been that close
Yeah,
to start
no,
with. So.
yeah.
We ready, Carl?
I'm good. You're good. I'm good.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 1:31 PM. Roll call, please.
Mark Myers,
Present.
Kevin Walls, Ron West, Brian Baird.
Here.
John Graham, John Myers,
Here.
and David Lexi.
Here.
So we have a quorum.
Very good. First item, approval of the minutes from September the 12th. Has everybody had time to read those? Do you have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Never mind.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Sherman?
Good afternoon. You have in your packet our check register from September 10th through November 14th. I have all the claims here. If there's anyone has any questions, I can certainly go through those. We do have some line item transfers that we'll get to. After we go through the
What was this? Void, the $9,000 void check? Is that-
I wrote a check for the multiple invoices and it turned out that they have to be different PO boxes. So I
Okay.
had to void the check
And then write the separate
and
check.
then write separate checks. So they could go to all the different PO boxes, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so
it's
do I have a
kind of, it's
motion to
very
approve?
light, but it's on the bottom of that.
Yeah, I couldn't quite, yeah, I couldn't. see.
I'll move to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Also, we'd like to do, typically we do this at year end, the line item transfer from 5313 office equipment repairs to 5315 office equipment contract in the amount of $128.40. And then second line item transfer from 5383 school education to 5382 public education in the amount of $327.58.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. CAC committee meets in a couple days for their pitch in. So director report.
Yes, yes, the 17th, we're always looking forward to it. Normally it's the Tuesday after our meeting, but everybody could make the 17th, so we moved it, which makes me very happy to be able to see everybody in one place. It's been a while, so. We do actually have a lot to go over. The most important thing for us is that the budget was approved very quickly. I thought maybe there was a fire emergency, you know, they were going to pull the drill or something, but we were thrilled. John certainly helped us to make sure the council understood what it was that we are looking to do in the next couple of years. So there were not many questions. So we were happy to see that go through. Our audit was also done at the same time, and that too seemed to pass with flying colors. We will of course get the final report so that you can see it all at the end of December if you haven't received it already. I do believe that the board gets the report ahead of time, so hopefully you have had a chance to look at that, and it will be made public, of course, sometime in the beginning of December. It is seemingly a much easier process now that everything gets uploaded on a monthly basis, because we're not scrambling to figure out, okay, what random piece came out 2 years and 11 months ago from this one area that we have to go find, because we know that we've been uploading correctly, everything has been equaling and accounts have been balanced. And so when they do grab a couple of things, we know right where to go get them. And so although it's frustrating that we have to do one more step, I will say when it came to the budget, I can understand the importance of that now and the ease in which we were able to get him the information. So all that being said, I will state, which is good for both Pat and I did also speak with State Board of Accounts at our conference, and making them aware that we will be building, because as we move forward with the building, we will be taking on some debt, which then puts us under the county's shadows again, as far as GAAP reporting goes. So we fall in and out of GAAP depending on where revenues come in line, which I did not realize. That's kind of interesting as well. So with the fact that we had some perf money, well, almost 2 years ago now, we fell under the county. We had to show how we, excuse me, ARPA money, the funds through the government that the government passed through. We had to show what we used, pull our receipts so that the county could incorporate all of those into their system. This year, we haven't had that same, because of course that money wasn't given to us in the grant cycle this year. So next year, when we go to take on debt, we will once again, most likely fall under them. So we will make sure that that process is goes as smoothly as possible. So we are going to meet with State Board of Accounts ahead of time, just to make sure that we have all the information in place so that we don't have any problems, and so that we're documenting correctly. It's not going to be an issue. I just want to make sure that when the county has what they ask for, we can immediately get it for them. So Pat and I will do that in the new year, as we move forward with the building. As far as the recycling center updates, we are once again down some employees, but we have a new one hired. She's starting tomorrow. So hopefully we will get another one from the applications we have received. We do have a possibility of a line from the educator at Bartholomew County. She is, unfortunately, Bartholomew County is running into some financial, the entire county, I think, is running into some financial concerns. And so they have had to cut a few of their positions. And so I have spoken to her about the possibility of literally being, for lack of a better word, a fill in wherever we need it to be, since she is very involved and knows a lot about the district. It will not be difficult to certainly train her. She is going to get back to me about that opportunity, since we only have a part-time position for that role. I know we've talked about the future, the possibility of, well, we'll definitely have to have at least one more full-time as we move forward in our building. But I also know that that's not how we set up the budget for next year. So the discussions are there. I'm hoping that maybe we can work something out, as I do believe she'd be a great asset. She's also a Franklin County resident, which is fantastic. So she does utilize the services and knows a lot about what Johnson County does. So we will see how that all plays out. But in the meantime, we also do have somebody starting tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. The holidays are always crazy around there because we are shut down so much. So when we are open, it is hopping. We also had some concerns about our compactor because Waste Management didn't get to it in time. We kept calling them, telling them that was the case. So when they went to go remove the bin, thankfully everything's compacted, but they couldn't get all the material out. So we had to call in some reinforcements from Ray's to get the rest of the material out and be able to place the compactor. So lesson learned for everyone, not us, because we knew what was going to happen and we kept telling them what was going to happen. But now they at least recognize it. I do think you still have a fair amount of Ray's employees, but not everybody understands the urgency of a compactor needing to be replaced, and we can't just stop what we're doing. So from that, we of course will be celebrating tomorrow America Recycles Day. We are partnering with Coffee House 5. We have had a great promotion with that, in the fact that we are working together to promote the Husky Cups. So Husky Cups are actually made out of recycled coffee husks. And you can get one from Coffee House 5. And then whenever you go in, you just bring that cup in. One of the things that I love about it is it doesn't have to be clean. You're not refilling the same cup. They are actually taking the cup from you, giving you a new cup. So as I said, I was on the radio and I said, so that moldy cup that sits back there for 2.5 weeks and you're like, oh, I really don't want to have to clean it. Just bring it to them. They're going to clean it. And then you purchase the coffee, and they keep reusing the mugs until they need to be recycled. And then they send them back to Husky Cup to be recycled. So for us, that is truly full circle. That's not just a reusable cup. It's something that we can ensure has a complete process and is remade again. So they had more hits on that promotion than they've had on anything. So we're really excited. We're going to take pictures tomorrow, both in Franklin and Greenwood. And then in the afternoon, we are going to also be going back around to Franklin, working with the businesses that maybe we haven't been able to get online with the cardboard recycling, letting them know that service is still available. We have been approached by 2 of the smaller businesses that have opened on 31. Both an eye doctor office and another small business that asked if we could work with them, and we said absolutely. So we'll be stopping by there. We are also, and who knew the timing on this would be so perfect, we are also giving out, as for anybody that comes through the recycling center tomorrow, we are giving out ice scrapers for their car that are made out of recycled plastic. So I will take the blame for the snow and ice coming, but I'm happy we're going to be able to help them with that. And we also made little postcards, and instead of doing our usual, this is who we are, this is what we do, because if you're at the center, you already know who we are and what we do. We made a little postcard just on some of the things that people don't realize, whether it be light bulbs, whether it be their plastic bags, those type of things that we get a lot of questions about, but we don't take directly. So we made a little postcard, we attached it to the end of that so that they always have that information with them. And we're pretty excited. We thought it was something fun and something usable. So we'll be doing all of those things. And one thing I did fail to put on my report is we did redo our website with Clever Dogs. It went so smoothly. I'm so grateful. They said you were fairly easy to work with because we had gotten all the information finally, worked through when we did our last website, but it just wasn't the look that we were hoping for. And we of course had problems with mobility on that site. And it's me, and I fully admit IT is not my background, website design. So, taking small little things perfect, but, creating a robust page that draws people's attention and is able to hit all the marks. They did an amazing job. We are so excited to work with them because we've already had one or two things we knew we had to update. We just send it to them and it immediately gets updated. So that is a great process for us. And so if you get a chance to go visit the site, please do. We've received great kudos back from it, except for those people who still have Google as our website. They're still not really happy with us, and so we have to explain that Google is not our website. But other than that, it's been fantastic. So any questions?
Ma'am, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, legal report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Carla, for the record, make sure and include that member Dawn Graham was able to join us.
Yes, ma'am. I've got it.
Thank you. I am happy to give you an update on the land purchase sale. As you recall, the board entered into an agreement to purchase the property, and included in the purchase agreement were 5 conditions, 4 of which were our obligations, 1 of which was the seller's obligation. So let me go briefly through those, give you the status, and to say just in general, we're right on track, probably a little bit ahead of track. But that's what happens when you have 2 type A's working on something at the same time. But the first is, it was subject to us obtaining 2 appraisals that they would average out to the purchase price. As I indicated to Mr. Walls, when we were first negotiating the purchase agreement does not get modified to the average of the 2 purchase price. But we are at $102,900. That is the purchase amount. Our first appraisal has been received and paid for. That appraisal came back at 155 was the appraised amount. So unless, if I'm doing my math, unless the next one comes back at 55, then we should be fine in terms of the average. I don't anticipate that, and I should be getting that sometime in the month of December. Our conditions need to be met by February 9th is our deadline. So I should be getting that back in December. So we're on track with that. The second item that we had to do is part of the purchase agreement made it conditioned upon us being able to determine through the Franklin zoning ordinance that we were capable of operating our offices in the recycle center as we were doing currently. The property is located in IL. It requires a special exception to be filed. As you all know, I also represent the city of Franklin. And so I cannot be the presenter at that particular meeting, but I met with Jesse. The application has been filed for the special exception. Staff has indicated they don't see any problem with it. Commissioner Walls will be presenting on behalf of the district at the December 9th meeting. And we also secured the approvals of the owners of the property consenting to the special exception being granted. So I'd anticipate we'll be fine. Again, we have a December meeting. In the unlikely event something gets continued, we'll still have January to get that taken care of. The third was giving us the option to obtain a phase 1 environmental. I reached out to Mutual Bank, who does a lot of lending in that particular area, to find out who they use for their phase 1 environmentals. It's a company by the name of EFTS. They still have not given me a quote for what that is. So if you all have any recommendations, I'm happy to follow that, but I wanted to get a quote on what the phase 1 would cost before we actually commit to it. I don't anticipate us having a difficulty finding someone to do that on a timely basis. And then the last, of course, is subject to your appropriation, which was done through the budgeting process that has already been approved. The other condition that's part of the purchase agreement is the condition of the seller to obtain the approval of the court. As you recall, this case is pending in Shelby County in their probate. And I have been assured by their attorney, Jim Admire, as well as the heirs, that I both know that they are fine with this purchase agreement. So I think we're on track, if not maybe a little bit ahead of track, and we should be able to close on it. Just as a practical matter, I did look at title work when they sold the other part of the plat, and there was nothing that showed up. So I don't anticipate we'll have title problems. So happy to answer any questions if I may.
Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're the old business. You'll be at the BZA.
Nope, Kevin Walls will.
Oh, you're right.
I'm the other guy.
The other guy. You're the other guy. Is Kevin gonna be here?
I hope so.
He assured me that he would be. And I asked them if they wanted to
Can't
get it.
guarantee anything.
Yeah, I asked them if they wanted a different council, and they said, "Man, just stand over to the side. It'll go through." So that made me feel like they don't really need me anyway. So
I find that highly unlikely.
I got a feeling that they're okay with it.
Internal controls.
Okay, so as part of our process, we recognized that I did need to make a few updates in the internal controls. Generally, I do look at them about once a year to see what else needs to change. And one of the things that I had missed was that we needed to basically have some title changes. So I sent everybody the internal controls. We, of course, have to educate on that. So that is why your signatures are required as an educational process. I think as adults, you guys probably all had the opportunity to spend the time reading over that and making sure that we are doing everything we are supposed to be doing. But I just want to highlight some of the areas. So we did have to change the name from recycling coordinator to operations manager. We did remove all of the areas that said educator, outreach and education coordinator, excuse me, to be exact, as we don't have that position anymore. And then office admin was moved to deputy director. So the biggest changes were, in fact, of course, that it is Carla and I mainly in the office. That has little change in the sense that we've always kept those separation of fiscal powers, I guess, for lack of a better word. So, you know, she does the deposits, I do the entry, Pat does the reviews. So it is still all the same status quo, except for the fact that we do not have the education and outreach coordinator to be able to be kind of the third overseer as far as the signing of any deposits that go in. But we do require all deposits to be carbon copied and also have the bank receipts. So we do have those controls in place. The other thing is that we are currently not taking in any money through the recycling center. So I did leave that as being open, but I did also document that as for the past year, we have not been receiving funds through the recycling center. So the fact is that we don't have to worry about the $2,500 thresholds as far as bonding and different things go. So that is included in there as well. And of course, if that were to change, we would make sure to go in and change the internal controls and ensure we do have all those position covers. Now, we do just automatically cover those positions as a positional bond just for our own safety in case there were other, we do take in money through creative resources. So if somebody was to do that, however, we still don't even come close to the threshold that is needed, but it is just something that as a board, and we had decided several years ago to include in our positional bond. So I don't see a reason to change that. My biggest concern, however, is with all of the changes and costs and us moving forward with this building is we have twice run into problems with our credit card limit. We actually have a 5,000 total limit. So Carla and I each have a credit card, but it's a 5,000 total limit. We no longer have the opportunity through Amazon to utilize their credit card. They made some changes. So I would like to promote Carla and I each having a $10,000 limit with the changes that we are going to have to make as far as purchasing for the building and doing various things. And then including the operations manager as the ability to be able to utilize the credit, but him only having a $5,000 limit because he would go through me through requirements. One of the biggest concerns going forward is the county has removed they're changing over their gas pumps. So we can find ourselves in a position too, where we would actually be needing to make credit card purchase for gas, whether it be because we're going out on our cardboard routes, doing those various things. So it is disconcerting if he does not have a credit card available to him. But again, I would require that he or she, whoever fills that position, would have prior approval before making purchases.
Jesse, this is the first I've heard of this, and I've never been involved with the entity that has more than 5,000. So when would we need something of this nature? I mean, the building will be dealt with separately and we are a year away from.
Well, just even if you purchase containers, like if we need plastic containers, I mean, we could easily just doing 3 of our, 2-ton containers, we could be in a situation where we are literally reaching $3,000 with just purchasing plastic containers. So that doesn't give us the opportunity to purchase gas, do any of our travel and training, do any of that with the credit card. So we would be back to then utilizing our own credit card, I guess, which we've never done.
Right.
It's just a completely.
Have we ever run into that?
Yes, we actually just ran into a situation where we had to have the credit card paid within a week to be able to pay somebody else off. That's why we came in and we had, yes,
But before we would do that, we would certainly need to have a resolution. It would have to be reviewed. It would.
yeah, we have a resolution for our credit cards.
Right, but we would have to amend that resolution more formally than simply just talking about it. In a
Oh,
meeting.
no, I was expecting a vote. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was asking for a
I
vote too.
think also we need to look at allowing them to request for an upgrade for a period of time, like we do at the county. In other words, if they know they've got something coming up, they'll ask for a temporary increase. The
Right.
auditor will temporarily increase it, and then it goes back to the.
Yeah, that would be
So,
fantastic. Whatever way we can work to
I'd
make
be
sure
more
that.
comfortable with
That's
that.
the way we do it.
Yeah.
I'd be more comfortable with that.
And I'm completely fine with that, but we just know with Amazon going away and the fact that a lot of our purchases had been made on Amazon and we've already run into it, well, literally twice this year, that we needed to make a change.
Talk about two things. One is the actual credit card limit. And the other is the limit allowed by each individual user of the credit card. I think we have to make certain exactly what we're talking about. So
Right, like I said, in the past, what we've done is we've literally formally came forward with a motion. We have a resolution, it's part of our record. We don't just do it today.
we have to. Credit card process
Correct.
itself.
Yeah, because you get, I mean, you have a resolution that this board authorizes the credit card limit, and then and usually it's identifies the office, the person who can use it that much.
We don't have counts with these companies where we just do a PO or something, pay or the bill comes in.
Our problem runs into then being able to find somebody to do the check, and if they are actually on our purchase orders and different things. I mean, we run into situations, I mean, again, where we were trying to make a purchase and we were paying for our travel and training, and we had too much on the credit card because of how expensive things are.
We do have, because you approve it at the beginning of every year, a resolution that authorizes prepayment
Right.
through checks, and then you ratify it because we meet quarterly.
But that's to a very specific. group.
Correct.
Right.
I think there are what, 20 some vendors. I usually prepare the list.
And we're always trying to find the cheapest vendor when we're going out to do something. So if we can make that purchase and put it on a credit card before it goes away, before our purchase order gets approved, because a lot of them will not put the order in until they have received the payment. Because we're too small of that. I mean, we're not purchasing, $50,000 from them on a regular basis. We're too small of an entity to establish, those type of relationships.
I think we're going around in circles. So I think what we're saying is I would not be for increasing a credit card limit. What I would be for would be allowing them to temporarily increase it as needed, and then it go back to the original amount after that crisis is over, which is the way we do it here at the county, and I assume every city and town does it that way.
Are you talking about actually contacting the credit card vendor and saying, I need a card?
You do a temporary increase for a period of time, yes, to cover those.
Who does the county have their credit card with? Because I'm wondering if we may have to switch to make sure that that happens.
You'd have to ask the auditor that
Okay.
question. We just approve the claims.
Okay.
But they make a phone call and within an hour, it's increased for that period of time, and then it goes back after the payment's made.
Ours are with regions, and that's how we do it.
And we may be regions too, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if we could somehow attach ourselves with what the county's card in order to do that. Because right now we're through Heartland Bank and so I just, Horizon, excuse me, Horizon Bank, yeah.
you would just send them a resolution stating that it can be increased temporarily by approval of one individual on the
Okay,
board or
great.
whatever, that any bank should be able to do that with a credit card.
I think what I'd like to do is reach out to Verizon and make sure in an account that's as small as ours, that they will allow us to do that. on temporary basis. And if they do, that's great. If they don't, then maybe something deal with as far as maybe increasing it, but not allowing the users of the card to go over a certain.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
I'm just looking at our expenses and doing some quick math, and obviously most of our expenses are tied up in things like payroll, salaries, health, insurance, things like that. I just wonder how often we actually, the numbers aren't making, because those are all paid,
I know.
very few credit card
Well, I
charges.
just said twice it's happened to us this year. And we're about to have to buy gas and different things utilizing our credit card. So that's where my concern is it's 5,000 flat. So if we've gone to travel and training, if two of us have gone to travel and training, and then we're purchasing, gas, and then we also need something in back for the recycling center, when we were initially making purchases for the recycling center, and we did utilize their credit card and different things, as I said, with prices going up, I mean, we could do 3 bins and it could be $3,000 for us.
There's
which
also, there's also a gas card available to governmental units that gets it increased,
Wex.
a decreased expense that you could do
We're
that.
working on it.
You
It's
could do that
just,
separate from a.
Our
credit
fleet
card.
director can help you with that.
he has been.
Okay.
It's Wex that seems to be having more of a
Right.
problem than us. So they're shutting down, regardless, they'll be shutting down the pumps and we'll be in that. And Stephen doesn't have a card at all.
Yeah, November 30th, midnight's the deadline on the gas.
Yeah. But all this would be doing with internal controls, which is why I brought it up, because obviously part of our resolution and our ability. So I guess what I'm asking for is, one, can I get a card for Stephen as operations manager? And then the other would be, I guess moving forward would be seeing about being able to do the temporary.
Yeah, we don't, our departments are 5,000 or less.
Yeah, I've never worked with
Right.
anybody, just from an internal control standpoint, that's where your biggest exposure is.
Right.
Yeah,
So
credit
that's why we
cards.
keep them low like
Yeah.
that.
I don't have a problem with him getting a credit card, but I agree with Brian about a resolution for a one-time type deal.
That's fine. Yeah, I have no problem with it, because we know, I mean, we were fully aware, so that's why I got in touch with Commissioner Walls to say, we have to do something to clear up this card before, so.
It would just give me a comfort level if we had a plan in place and then it was presented to you and then voted
Right.
on.
Yeah.
From an internal controls
But they,
standpoint.
yeah, the solid waste would not be able to go on our credit card system here at the county.
Correct,
Because commissioners are responsible for that.
correct.
And then we're not responsible for the solid waste.
However we need to do it, I'm just concerned that prices are still increasing and we're going to be needing to make.
I think
purchases.
you
That's
just
all.
need to prepare a resolution for those one-time
Temporary
Okay.
increases.
So
increase.
amend the resolution we have for the credit card that allows for the operations manager to receive one. We don't use names, we just use titles.
Correct.
And then present one that says for temporary purchases.
Does it need to be separate or can it just be put both on the same resolution?
But I think we currently have separate resolutions. I don't remember.
No, we just have the one.
Then we can do, as long as we keep consistent where we can track them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't updated that resolution and
Let me make some phone calls this afternoon and tomorrow. Make certain horizons, so let's do that. Very small. Which I don't want you to keep resolutions in process.
If you can do it.
Horizons, not gonna let us sleep.
Okay.
And then that may require something else that you need to look at. And
That's fine. Thank you.
so, all that being said, if you have any questions about the internal controls, I do need you to sign that you have received them. And then you should have another piece of paper individually stating that you have actually gone through the learning experience of the updated changes. Oh, okay, sorry. So you just find your name on this one.
You want our individual sheets too, or just?
Yes, that'd be fantastic. If you could just pile it together. They ask for all those things, so we do need to upload them into the system to make sure they have updated copies anytime we make changes. And if we do change the credit card, we'll be able to just upload the resolution. You won't have to re-sign because it's not specifically stated within the internal controls. $1 amount.
Fine, man.
Okay, okay.
And then the last one is an easy one. It's just our board meeting dates. So if anybody has any changes, we can discuss that, but otherwise, we just stuck with the second Monday at 1:30 here at the annex every other month.
November 6th would be nice. Instead of the 13th, we don't have commissioners meeting on the 13th.
Okay, yeah, we noticed that this year too, but
It switches every December or every November, first and third
yeah.
Mondays in November and December, just because of holidays.
Mhm.
If it could go to the 6th would be great, unless it's a problem with.
Okay, so it'll be November 6th instead of November 13th. We
And then
will.
maybe Kevin and Ron will show up.
Yeah, yeah. So we will make sure to just update that and send that over so we can post the right dates.
Thank you.
With that, any public comment? Andy? Okay.
Move to adjourn.
We're adjourned.